Hey guys, how's it going? I'm going to set up this room real quick, and then I'm going to send out the link to Yvonne, where we'll be covering some of her questions today. So if you guys want to sit in on it, feel free. Otherwise, we can get this room started. Get this set up. I'm going to send this link over to Yvonne real quick, and then we can get started. Setting this up real quick, and we should be good. It looks like everything's good to go. So I'm just waiting for Yvonne to join in, and then we'll get started. And right here, this one. Here, let me see. 7, 2. It's not too bad. Yeah, if you guys are following this, I'm taking this position right now. It's the one that I took earlier using the new strategy I covered with Kyle in the last session. Took this trade, currently letting it run to a full TP down here. Let's keep watching it though. Price is currently at. Put my stop loss and profit. 7. All right, move my stop loss and profit. So no more risk on this trade. I'm not taking off the TP and just letting it ride pretty much.
Black with that.
Just watching these memes on Instagram real quick while I wait for Yvonne to hop into this room. Let's see if she's coming in yet. Hey Yvonne, can you hear me?
Yeah, Shawn, how you doing?
Perfect, doing good. How are you?
Good. Good.
Here. So let's see. Do you have questions for today, or are you just like going off fly?
Yeah, I do have a few questions. So okay, so I've been like back testing and stuff, the scalping strategy. I've taken a few scalps that you guys have called live.
Mhm.
I've even taken a few on my own, you know, here and there. But I've been taking really little lots on them because I'm not too like comfortable with it yet. So I just kind of wanted to brush up on, I guess like certain entries and stuff that that I would think are valid that necessarily aren't, I guess, right?
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
so okay, so I actually have one from today that I have a question on.
Okay, perfect.
It's
Is
the
that for is it for US 30 or is it for a different one?
it's for US 30.
Okay,
It
perfect.
was today at 10:10 a.m. I have mine at Eastern Standard Time on my trading view chart. So I guess that's 3 hours back. You're 3 hours back, right?
That is correct. Yeah, 3 hours
Yeah.
back from your time.
Yeah. So it'll be 7:10 a.m. your time.
All right, let me go back to there. Let's see, 7:10 a.m.
Like right here, actually. You're scrolling
I
past
got
there.
it. Okay,
Yeah,
got
it's like that awkward bearish engulfing, right?
it. Mhm.
And then you see this next candle after. You see how like the wick technically retests. Is it because the body of this candle kind of goes through that
The pivot.
pivot? Yeah.
Gotcha. So let me mark up the zone real quick. I'll see where the zone was. Let's see. So I don't see an entry. Let me just rewind to that. Maybe there was an entry at that point.
Is it because the zone, like it had already broke through the zone beforehand? You see?
Yeah, yeah. So for this right here, the wick rejection would have to be off the zone. So there was no wick rejection off the zone right here.
Got you.
So
Okay.
yeah, so that's probably the well, that's basically, the main thing that was missed right there. Like what we would want
Is a buy at that point, maybe, right?
so to get a buy at this point, we would need a rejection off the bottom point. So basically, if the wick rejection is off the top with it rejects off the pivot and the structure, then that would be a sell. If we have a wick rejection off the bottom wick, then it would be a buy.
Wait, question, right? So see it, this candle that we're on right now.
Yeah.
If this one wasn't there, right?
Mhm.
And the next candle per se, instead of being this long red candle, let's just say it was a big bullish candle after that, because it rejected this red candle here, already rejected off of the structure. If that next candle was bullish and rejected off of a pivot, it would have been more so of a buy entry, right? Because it had rejected off the structure to begin with, like 2 candles back of what you have on the screen now.
Not exactly, because the requirements have to be met on that actual entry, on that entry candle. So for example, let me see if I can
Okay, on the entry candle. Okay.
yeah. So like depending on let me see if I can find a buy here. So I can just find you an example that would qualify. Let's see if we have one back here maybe.
Because when I was back testing it, I saw a few. I got I took some like literally that were very clean, clean rejections and stuff off of a pivot and off of a breaker structure. Like question, right? Right,
Mhm.
but you see where that zone you just drew?
Yeah.
If you go to like where 1 a.m. is on your chart, right? Over to that candle, see that big bullish
Gotcha.
engulfing candle, that one right there?
This one
You
right
see
here.
how this next candle rejects off the structure? Would that be like a buy entry because that previous candle rejected off the pivot, or no?
I mean, depending on how you analyze it, but it doesn't fit the requirements. The strategy would have to require that it rejects off the pivot and the structure like it did right here.
Off that same candle.
Yeah, it's a double
Gotcha.
confirmation. Yeah, so it'd have to reject like that, and then if you had that there, you would take your long position, and then basically ride it from there.
Okay, cool, gotcha. No, see, that was my my issue is like that in my back testing, some of the confirmations came with multiple candles. So you just need the one candle to be your confirmation, rejecting off the structure and off the pivot.
Exactly, yeah. And if you wanted to stack more on, I mean, technically you could, depending on how comfortable you feel or how confident you feel about this, because sometimes, you just feel really confident about a position and then you see like multiple tests, like you have one right there and then you have another one right here as well. And then you have another one right here. So there's actually 3 entries that you could have taken off this right here. You could have taken that one. You could have also taken this rejection off here as well. And you could have taken this one right here as well too. So it just depends. Like if you missed this one, you could have gotten in on this one. If you missed these 2, you could have gotten in on this one.
Gotcha.
It's really, or you could have taken all of them. Some people take all of them. It just depends on how confident you feel, because like you're already identifying other things. Like you've identified how to reject it off the structure here. Obviously if it keeps testing it, just, from your own experience, like not even using the pivots, if you saw, this rejection here at 1, 2, 3, 4, like a quadruple test right here, odds are it's probably going to shoot up from that point. So using your own, your own skill and knowledge, you could use that for extra confirmation, whether you want to enter, multiple positions or just one, and then maybe take a big one off that. It's really up to you how you would want to apply it, because it just really depends, because not everyone's on the same level of trading, and not everyone's on the same level of identifying, these little hints in the market indicating that price is probably going to shoot up from there.
Yeah, no, for sure. Okay, cool. Because you honestly with this, I don't really trade US 30 too often regularly. Like I stick with I used to trade it a little bit here and there, but I mainly stick with like GBP pairs. I look at UK 100, like Bitcoin, JER 30 sometimes too, but like, US 30 it moves very differently from like a regular pairs,
Exactly.
So yeah, so that's why like when I see certain like things, when I back test it, it's like I know I need to get more comfortable reading the market for US 30 basically. So like sometimes I'll second guess myself, like something like this that I'll see on a GBP pair, I'll know for sure, like I'm like 90% sure it's going to go up, 95% sure, as opposed to me seeing it on US 30, I'm going to second guess myself because it's US 30.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so it's more of a psychology thing too.
Yeah, definitely. And that's why I stick to US 30, because that's what I know how to trade. And, same in your situation, you're used to trading those other pairs. So that's something that you're comfortable with as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. But no, thank you. This really helped because what I was missing is that the confirmation is a double confirmation, rejection off the pivot and off structure off that same candle. I was kind of like, in back testing, I've seen some like that. And then others I've grabbed, with 2 different candles as the confirmations, and sometimes they work, but sometimes they didn't. And I knew there was something off because I'm like, the accuracy when I see it, done on your lives and see other people taking it, I'm like, I'm missing something like here, so that's what I wanted to.
Yeah, it's just something small, because the zones are actually, it's just a secondary confirmation. Like the main confirmation would be, obviously the pivot rejection, but the zones would be the secondary. That pretty much just like locks in the trade. Like once you have those two meeting, then it gives you an indication that basically this is kind of like combining 2 strategies into one, like one strategy where you have the rejection off the pivot, and then another strategy where you have the rejection off the zone as well. So that gives a full confirmation. Other people also use the momentum indicator. I don't use it myself, only sometimes, for that extra confirmation. So like basically if they were going to take a buy right here, they would probably want like, some sort of buy signal prior to it, indicating that momentum is going to be going up. So like for some people, they'd ignore this one right here. They get this buy signal right here. Then they would take this one and this one, because it gives you a better confirmation that price is likely to, swing up, kind of similar to like what happened right here as well.
And that bigger push, right, is that that has to be like in New York or like London or something, right? That large
this push right here.
Push. Yeah.
Yeah, this was exactly at New York Open, 6:30 a.m. my time.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, see, that's what I figured. That's what I figured too, because like I know this pair is a lot. It has a like timing is a big thing too. Well, timing is a big thing with any pair, but especially US 30. Like I know it really moves during New York, so that's why we like you hop on at New York time, my time when it opens. Obviously your time too, but whenever NYSE opens, that's when we're on looking for stuff. But I'll definitely like when I backtest, just try to backtest in between like probably just London and New York, London overlap, and maybe that's it. Like, cause I don't know, like, do you take, cause I've seen people take Asian session scalps. Do you scalp yourself Asian session?
Sometimes it's like a hit or miss, honestly. Like I've gotten burned doing Asia session, but
Yeah.
I just took this one right now, actually. Let me see. This one right here, I just took this one where it rejected off this, and I actually just hit full TP. I was kind of worried because it was swinging up right there, but I did take, where was it at?
Yeah, because I see it right here, like this clean reject, like it rejects off the structure and off of this like top pivot, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So like, yeah, like you see the rejection there, and then like I mentioned, if you want to add on the momentum indicator as well, this will give you a second or a third confirmation, because this would satisfy the pivot strategy. So I'm not sure. Are you familiar with that?
Which one?
The pivot strategy, the K2 pivot strategy.
Is that the one based off? Well, I don't really like, since you introduced this strategy. This is the most I've worked with the K2 pivots. I mainly use the momentum indicators, and then my support and resistance. I usually, because I do mine pretty like decently, and I've noticed that a lot of times your zones will overlap with mine. Mine just might be a little thinner than yours. You know what I mean? But they'll be in roughly the same place. So I'll use those two things more so than the pivots. I just started using the pivots really with the strategy, to be honest. I looked at your videos, like all of them before, because I've been trading for like almost actually 2 years, I think, this month. I started in like January, February-ish, 2019.
You're telling me, yeah.
And stuff. Yeah, so like, yeah, so I've been like, I'm not trading for a while, you know, like I feel like you've been trading for a while. I know a decent amount, you know what I mean? So like, I kind of was like, okay, what can I use that overlaps with what I know, as opposed to doing something completely different, you know? So the pivots to me are like, they look like EMAs, honestly. And I already work with some EMAs. So like, it made my chart too cluttered. So I just don't really use the pivots now. I have a separate chart with all your stuff on it now, and then a chart with my regular stuff on it as well. But like I use like your chart to scalp mainly, especially for US 30.
Exactly. Yeah. And they just give you that extra confirmation, because you already know what to look for. And this just gives you the confirmation that it actually, you know, is moving in that direction.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, and then so I know this usually take like a 1-to-1. So like, how do you differentiate when you're gonna take? Because sometimes you'll be like, okay, I'm gonna catch 500 pips, or sometimes it's 1500. So like, how do you differentiate between like 500 and 15? Is it the zones, or is it more so like, I would assume it's maybe based off the zones, like the SRs maybe.
Yeah, so the 1500 is the daily entry. That's like what we take for the whole New York session. The scalp entries are always 500, because I just go for small scalps. That's the main difference. I usually just go for a quick scalp, because what I generally do is we'll take like the main daily entry, and I'll take that with the smaller lot size for the 1500. And then within that, because sometimes you'll see it bounce back and forth. If that happens, I'll scalp within it. So I could pretty much, eliminate any risk from there. So if I do end up losing the big move and I win a couple of scalps, it pretty much covers that loss. So I end up at break even at the end of the day, or with double or more profits if they both hit.
Okay, cool. And then quick question, right? So on this chart where you are around like 5 a.m., if you go back to that candle, I think it's like a bearish engulfing around like 5 a.m.
There we go. Yeah.
Like right next to, like, go left a little bit. Like you have right in the middle of where you are.
Right over here.
It's I think it's literally like the 5 a.m. candle or the 4:50 a.m. candle.
Okay, 5 a.m. This one right here.
Okay, so right back, so 4:40, not 4:40. We're on the 10 minutes.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
So this one, right? You see how it rejects off the yellow and off the green?
Yeah.
Like would that one be like, you could like enter here, and if you put your stop loss up, you would hit full TP on that one, right? Because that technically does reject off of it. And then you have like a previous sell signal beforehand. So that would be like a cleaner entry. It would just be in it would be in a little bit of drawdown before it hit, but it wouldn't hit.
Yeah, well, actually, like before I created this strategy, I used to only go off the pivot rejections. I didn't go off the structure. So technically this would be an entry if I was
because it's not a structure rejection. Sorry, I missed the structure.
Yeah, let me see if I could find, because maybe there was a structure there. Let me just rewind it. I think it was 440. So you're talking about this candle. Let me go back here. Yeah, I mean, this actually satisfies the requirement, because there was a structure there.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, so you're actually on point with that. Yeah, so this is actually a good entry right there. That's an upper structure. So this would qualify as a valid entry off this point. So we had the rejection off the pivot and rejection off the structure. So there's double confirmation right there. We would have taken, the short position right here for about 500 pips. And yeah, it looks like this one would have hit.
Yeah,
definitely.
So okay, cool.
Good. Cool. Yeah. Because my original scalping strategy, I used to already apply this. I've been applying this for like years already, but it wasn't with the structure. So I figured out that once you add this second confirmation, it actually is a lot more accurate. And that's why I started applying it. But it's pretty accurate as well. If like say if you just wanted to go off the pivot rejections, you can do that as well if you know how to read the candlesticks. Because for me, I don't really need the structures there. If I see a rejection and it catches my eye, like something like this over here, and I don't really use the structures, yeah, I would still take it. Cause this,
Got you.
yeah. So like, yeah,
Because you
for
can
you,
still kind of eye the structures too. Like that place where you said you would take an entry, that like it was a decent little form of support. You can see that was being respected, even just from the naked eye. You know what I mean? If you know how to read a chart, it looks like you can see a little bit. If you scroll over,
oh yeah, a little farther down.
yeah, scroll like left. No, you go back left.
Oh, over here, yeah.
Like down here, yeah, all the way like left, where this big bullish push started. There was this little like support that was respected here, you know, just
Oh,
from
this
the
area, yeah, exactly.
like I wouldn't even need the SRs to see that, you know what I mean? So like you would just kind of like, okay, I see it obviously like sitting here on top of the support. Then I get my pivot rejections and you can enter.
Exactly. And that's what I was mentioning earlier too. Like sometimes I'll just look and I'll see that it's been testing it like, X amount of times there. Like for example, here it was testing it like quite a bit of time. So I was like, all right, this is, a bullish move is probably going to happen at that point because it broke structure, retested, and then it tested it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. At that point, it's probably going to shoot up from there. So yeah. So you could definitely, for you, because you actually know how to look at the charts. In your case, you could actually just take trades without even, drawing the SR levels. If you feel confident about it. But obviously, for everyone else that's not really experienced yet, identifying this stuff, that's why I added this extra confirmation just to give people confidence, because then they know what to look out for.
Yeah, no, for sure. Thank you. This really helped a lot, because now when I back test, I'm going to look for these like specific single candle confirmations with the rejections and everything, and even just try to like find some of my naked eye, because it's just like honestly just a back testing thing. I wanted to I started it like last week, because I think you introduced it either at the top of last week or the like begin or the end of like the week before last or something. So I know it's like still kind of new. So like I've been like testing it on my own, watching the lives and stuff, but I knew I needed the one-on-one to like help with the questions I had, just so I can go and like back test it for real and actually like look for what I need to look for.
Oh yeah, definitely. And it's still a work in progress. That's why I haven't made the actual video yet, because, obviously when we start to trade it more and more, I'll start to find like little flaws where we can make changes. I think that the main thing that is probably the most concerning is knowing when to stop trading, or knowing when not to trade, right? Because obviously the market's not going to be moving all day, every day. Like even right here, like when it's consolidating like this, it makes it like impossible for you to catch some scalps if you end up in the opposite side. So yeah, it's still a work in progress, but I think for the most part, everyone's been doing pretty well with it. So I think I'd probably keep it like this, maybe have some optional requirements to add on to it if people want to increase their win rate. But I think for the most part, it's pretty much solid as it is.
Yeah, no, it's very solid. Like I've been, tapped into all the group chats and stuff, and I've been looking at people's profits, and I've been profiting myself. But again, like I've been, because US 30 is like the lot sizes is so much different from like a GBP pair, Like even the other day, I didn't change my lot size in MT4, and I was doing desktop. And I like hit the button on US 30 with my like lot that I use for GBP pairs. And I was like, oh my God. Luckily the trade, like it was like a small scalp and it went like directly in my favor right away. But like I had a heart attack like a little bit, just cause like I knew I wasn't over leveraging by too much, but I was over leveraging. Like risking
You're
more than I
pushing it, yeah. You're definitely
so I was like, I was super nervous, but no, I'm gonna back test it and then just get more comfy taking like more than a freaking like 0.02 or 0.03, So
exactly, yeah. Since it's a smaller move, you can probably increase your lot size, slightly, because you're only going for that quick little 500 pips, and it usually happens pretty quickly. Like I think most of our trades hit within like the first maybe 10 to 30 minutes, which is perfect, because then you can just set up for the next move after that.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like that's what I do usually when I scout GBP pairs. Like if I'm taking like 15, 20 pips or something, like I'll drop a bigger lot, because I have a very like I usually try to take 2 to 1s so I can drop a bigger lot on as opposed to just a 1 to 1, you know what I mean, as far as risk. But that's what I want to get comfortable with on US 30, just doing that, like actually risking like a bigger lot, still within my risk management, but like actually making some decent profits instead of just I'm making baby profits, which I'm happy with, because profits are profits, but it's not, where it's supposed to be compared to how I'm trading my other pairs. And again, it's just a psychology thing. So I'm gonna just back test it this week and this weekend, and then get ready for next week. So actually, I'm gonna still be trading this week, obviously, but mainly like gear up and really prepare to execute on my own next week. And then not being able to rely so much on the live streams. I love the live streams. I tap in every morning, but it's so good to just do it yourself. So
yeah, and it feels better because you identify yourself. You're not really following anything. You're kind of just it's all from your own work.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you. This helped a lot.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Do you have any other questions?
Nah, that was it. I mean, well, okay. So this is off base as far as Forex, because I know you don't trade stocks too much anymore, but if you can maybe answer this one. Because I know you said you use the same indicators. So because I want to get into maybe doing like options and stuff, short term stock trading. And then my broker offers some stocks as well for me to trade on the Forex market. So I figured I could just, trade those too, and just to kind of like add a little bit, to just diversify a little bit. But would I guess like if I'm using the indicators, say for like if I'm gonna do like a buy and hold type of situation, or maybe even something where I'm holding for like a week or two, what time frames do you recommend me look at as opposed to Forex? Because I day trade and we scalp. So it's like I'm looking on smaller time frames. Obviously, I'm not going to look on a 10-minute if I'm looking to hold a stock for a week. You know what I mean? Or like maybe not even the hourly or something. So what would you like? What did you do if you could remember or, recommend anything?
Yeah, I like the 4-hour chart. So like, do you have a stock in mind? I could probably show you something real quick.
We could just do Tesla because I know I could trade that one. Tesla or Apple, something like that.
Yeah, like for me, when I trade those, I usually buy the dip. So what I do is I go to I'll go to Tesla, I'll go on the 4-hour, and then what I do is I usually draw the zones, and then I buy the dip. What I noticed too, like a lot of people in the group have been mentioning that they use a scalping strategy actually, like on on a higher time frame. It actually works pretty good. So let me see if I could find
like with the pivots.
Yeah, they use the pivots as well. To identify it. So they'll use the same exact strategy. Like for example, let me see if I could. The only problem with drawing the zones on stocks is that like lately the market's just been pushing up like way too high. Like for example here, it's pushed up so high where it's got to come down. Like everything is like super overvalued. Like Tesla's overvalued, Amazon, stuff like that. And there's just the things that have been going on the past couple of weeks, with GameStop and stuff like that. It's gonna, I mean, it's already having its effect on the market. You can see that the market's not really moving that smooth. So it might be a little hard. I mean, obviously, if you're looking at this like back in November, it's like you can see these ranges here. So whenever it swings down, you could have easily caught some of these. Let me just hide this. Yeah, you could have caught like some of these moves here, or like price comes down, and if it does, the same exact requirements that we were looking for US 30, you could apply them right here as well. Like for example here. But obviously, if you're doing stocks, your bias would probably be for a buy, especially for something like Tesla or Apple, something that generally goes up. Like for example, right here, you can see this red candle had the requirements met right there, where it rejected off the pivot and the structure. So if you were to do that, you can probably do like an out the money call or an out the money, call for a strike price that was slightly above it. Like for example, where the candle is, something like that, your strike price is there. And then obviously, from here up until say you had a 2-week expiration contract, it would, it'd expire somewhere around there above your strike price.
Do you recommend just doing like calls? Because can't you do puts and like get money off the sell as well? Or do you not recommend doing the put?
So it depends on what you're trading. Like if you're trading something like Tesla, then or like you're mentioning like the big names like Tesla, Apple. Tesla and Apple generally always go up. So I mean technically you can do puts, but it's really going to depend on your trading style. Because if
Got you. It depends on how long I'm going to hold for and all that type of things. Because I know with honestly, I've literally done one options trade. Like I'm a complete newbie when it comes to stocks. I just know, obviously, at least from Forex, I know how to read a chart. So that helps me as far as just knowing that aspect. But like as far as the big names, I only really mentioned those because on my broker, I know I can trade Tesla and Apple on MT4. But other stocks, I know I'll like look at those. Like I bought the other day, I bought like AMC and it actually went up. Like I have like my little Chase U Invest and I'm bought AMC on there to kind of like buy and hold, because figure when, you know, whenever quarantine's over, that will go up because AMC will actually go up in value in real life because people actually start going to the movies again. But
exactly.
so that's something I bought to hold for a longer time, you know, but like I could like, you know, definitely look at like these smaller stocks and stuff that maybe range more, because, you know, like you said, Tesla and Apple, they typically just go up for the most part. But like other stocks, I guess like you would recommend though buying the dip though, like that would make the most sense, because that's what I'm going to start off with. And then because I was just asking, you know, for a future reference, but I'll definitely start off with like back testing, kind of like, okay, it looks like it's going to dip here. This is like something I would maybe take, and then look to see how it plays out, I guess, like on the charts and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you're doing the big names, like the ones that obviously will go up, that's better to buy the dip. If you're trading the smaller names that kind of, you know, go up and down, then you can do puts. Like you can wait until it gets like overbought, or, you know, when it reaches a resistance. And then, like, for example, I'm going to think of one that's possibly maybe like NVIDIA or something. So I'm trying to find one that's popular, but it's not necessarily always going up. Like, for example, here for NVIDIA, if you're trading something like NVIDIA, where it's actually it actually goes down, like it bounces back and forth. For something like this, you can like identify where the you know, where the rejection points are, and then you can even apply it that way. So, like, for example, here, I mean, this is a little choppy. This is probably not another good example. You probably would need to use something that is smooth, but it's smooth in both ways. I'm trying to think of a stock. I haven't traded stocks in a while, so I can't really remember.
Yeah, no, that's fine, because I'll do my own research and kind of look from there. But this is helpful as far as you know, because this is what I'll do for all of them. Like this marking up on the 4 hour and then kind of going from there.
Exactly. Yeah. So it depends on on how long your expirations are. Like if you're doing like 2 weeks to a month, a 4 hour I think would be good. I think the daily is kind of too far off. Because like on the daily, you'll see like something shoot up and then it'll shoot right back down. It'll just go back to where it's supposed to be. You're not going to see like consistent movements where it's like you find these little waves in price. Like, for example, for NVIDIA, it'll come up to the top. And then when you see price, this is like one example that I would use. If you see something where it fulfills a requirement here, like it comes up and then you see it start to come back down. If I just like rewind it to something like this over here, like if you see this over here coming back down, and then you identify the same thing that we use for, you know, our US 30 strategy, you see where it rejects off the structure and the pivot. You know, odds are it's probably going to come down maybe like halfway to, like at the very least halfway to the dip, which would be over here. And then if your option contract, or, you know, for your put would be, if your strike price is somewhere like out the money, somewhere around here, or even down here, maybe, you know, obviously you're going to make more money if it's down here. But if you catch it at the right moment and your strike prices, the strike prices are usually whole numbers. So maybe like 534. Yeah. So if that would be your strike price right there, and then you're looking at your time scale, which would be, let me see, date range. So from this point up until I guess 14 days, we'd look for like something like that. Like if you were to do that and then you let it run, you know, eventually it would probably come down, and then you probably wouldn't hold to expiration. Like once it gets like halfway through, you can probably sell it off for some profit. But if you did hold on to it, you can kind of see the pivots are good to identify swings, like when price swings up and swings down. Generally, when you see the pivot start going downwards and you can see that it rejected off a structure, something like this, you can even add the momentum indicator as well. There's a lot of different ways to do it. Like for here, this is one that I use for, you know, my Forex trades. I identify the rejection, identify the sell signal, even if it's invalid. And then once you see it break a structure like it did right here, you know, using the K2SR strategy, it qualifies as well. So there's a lot of different things that you can look at. It just depends on like what you specifically like to look at. Cause I can like use a bunch of different strategies and then look for multiple confirmations that price is likely to come down. And that'll give me a better idea of like what's going to happen. But it's really going to depend on what you like necessarily. And with stocks, there's more that goes into it. Like, you know, for us, when you trade US 30 and Forex, we can just use technical analysis. For stocks, you kind of have to like read up on their news. Like if their earnings were like under or if they were over, you know, what their dividend looks like, stuff like that. There's a lot of different factors that go into stocks. That's kind of why I stopped trading stocks, because it was just there was more work than I felt that needed to be done. Because I feel like with you know everything else that we trade, we just use technical analysis. But with stocks, it's a little different because there's a lot of different factors that factor in.
Yeah, no, for sure. I went to school for econ. So
Oh,
like
yes, you're familiar with
yeah,
it.
yeah, no, not even. Like it's just I know how much goes into it. Like when I got into Forex, because you know, like economics does play a part in the Forex too. I was like, oh my God, I'm actually using, you know, what I went to school for, but I like it's like shit, I wish I would have paid a little bit more attention
I
you
agree.
know, and took some more notes and stuff. But no, so I know like that's why I haven't, again, when I have a small account for me investing. So I've been like, you know, like and buying and holding like little stocks that I read up on and stuff. But other than that, I haven't been doing too much. I just focus on Forex because like you said, it's just the charts. It's a little fundamentals, but mostly technicals for the most part.
Mhm.
So like it's easier to manage, I feel like. So I'm glad you agree, because that's what I felt like too. I just want to do stocks to diversify myself, and diversify my portfolio and stuff. But other than that, I'm gonna really stick to trading Forex for the most part. This is just something for me to do in my free time, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Like I was thinking about getting back into stocks too, but I just feel like there's a lot of uncertainty like in the market, especially with like what happened with like AMC and GameStop. Like
GameStop,
if they're
yeah.
able to, yeah, if they're able to disrupt the market like that, I feel like, you know, these hedge funds and institutions are going to look for revenge at some point, you know, because I feel like there's still a lot of people that are still in GameStop and AMC that like people that jumped in that didn't know what they're doing, right? They just saw the hype and they jumped in, and then they're probably at a loss right now. They don't know what to do. They're like, oh, should I hold it or should I sell it? So I feel like eventually, once they all get rid of, you know, their stock, it's gonna cause like a wave in the market, not just for those two stocks, but I think it's gonna cause a wave in a lot of other stocks as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. I saw the AMC GameStop stuff. And I like GameStop. I mean, I like could have bought it because luckily my broker didn't restrict it. But I like GameStop, to me, didn't make any sense to buy and hold. I was like, what's like AMC at least makes a little bit of sense. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
again,
they're still open,
it's
right?
down
Yeah.
because of quarantine. You know, I'm like, when
Mhm.
quarantine's back up, it's actually gonna boom. But like GameStop's been losing money for years. And like quarantine, if anything, made it worse because it made everything more digital. So
Exactly.
it just didn't make any sense for GameStop. But no, I honestly, I'm just doing like really like I'm trading such a small amount that when people lost money on AMC, I lost like fucking like $25.
There's
So it was
nothing,
like
right?
I don't really care. You know what I mean? That's what I'm doing, like petty money as far as
Hmm.
stocks now, until I get comfortable really trading, because I it's just, you know, something else to do. But no, I'm getting off topic, but thank you. This really did help me a lot. I took a lot of notes and stuff too.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. You know, if you have any other questions, because I know you know, you'll probably run into some stuff along the way, especially with the new scalping strategy. Maybe you'll find something new that could be included in the strategy, or maybe you could find something that we can use to, you know, avoid losses and stuff. Because I'm sure like through your back test, you'll run into things. Like I'm still running into things every day. And it's definitely making the strategy a lot better.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'll let you know, and I'll probably, you know, tap into a one-on-one in a week or two or a few weeks from now, just to brush up again.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully after you lock in a bunch of profits, because everyone's been killing it. Like honestly, when I see everyone's profits, I'm like, damn, people are making more profit than me. And I'm like, I created this thing.
Right. No, I definitely gotta get the ball rolling with the strategy. I mean, I've been doing decent with my regular Forex strategy on like just trading GJ and stuff. I just like I really like honed in on GJ, I guess, and I've been trading that a lot. So that's kind of been what I've been paying attention to mostly. But there's so many pips and indices. That's why I like that. I always trade indices at least one a day, whether it's either UK 100 or JER 30 or US 30. I'll like hit one of those, but I want to like hone in on US 30 and really get the strategy down, because again, there's just so many pips. It's so like you can make so much more profit in trading an index than a regular pair. So I mean, profit is profit, and I could
Mhm.
just up the lot size and make the same amount of profit trading GJ, but you know, it's still easier to catch 500 pips on, like, you know, it's a 500 pip candle you catch on US 30 kind of easily, but you can't catch that on GJ ever, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel
So,
like it's less risk too, because you kind of just take the trade and get in and out like within, like, it doesn't matter if it's a win or loss. You actually know within like, a few minutes rather than
yeah.
holding on to a trade for like hours, if not days, and just hoping that it hits. But, I guess it really depends on who's trading it as well.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. Because I've definitely done that. Like I haven't done that in a long time. Because usually now with my stop losses, I try to set it at a time where the volatility is high. So if I'm wrong, I know I'm wrong, or if I'm right immediately. Hopefully, you know what I mean. I think the longest I've held a trade, honestly, is like 2 days. Like 2 days, and it went in my favor. I held it because I was in profit. I didn't want to let it go, and I thought it was going to go my way, and it did. But regardless, I try not to like hold trades and just like cross my fingers and hope it hits my price, you know.
Yeah.
But no, I'll definitely just keep back testing and everything and get more comfortable with the zones. And I'm definitely gonna check it out on the stocks as well too, because I have a couple friends that trade stocks and are really nice at stocks, but they're more fundamental as opposed to technical. So I want to like at least know what I'm doing technically, so I can come to them fundamentally and like kind of combine it. And
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't hurt to know, everything pretty much.
no, literally. I mean, that's what I feel like that's what you need for trading in general, you know, as much knowledge as possible. So
Exactly. You got to have an open mind. Doesn't matter if it's a strategy you don't like, as long as you know it and you have something to look for, it definitely would help you regardless.
yeah, no, exactly. Exactly. Thank you. Thanks again.
Definitely, no problem.